Shattering Glass Chapter 24. Nobody ever questioned my ACTs, but I took them again. I couldn't right all the wrongs, but I could do that much. Did you know that Rana came to the hospital every single day? And she did something great. She convinced me that I was more than muscle and sweat, and she taught me how to learn. I didn't graduate with everyone else, but when I finished all my classwork and was walking on my own again, Rana had a surprise. She got the deputy to light up the stadium one night. I wore a cap and gown, and lots of people came and cheered while the principal gave me my diploma. Jeff Cooper. Per Dad's rule, I had to take the ACT again. So I ended up in Simon Glass's Firebird early Saturday morning en route to Alvin Community College. Glass, you have to sign the test, and they have a copy of Coop's first test with his signature. Tapping his fingers on the steering wheel to an inner rhythm, Simon nodded. Got that covered. Coop made a 15. If I don't score better than, say, a 20 or 21, then the computer won't kick out the score, so the signature won't be compared. But just in case, I worked on forging Coop's handwriting last night. When we arrived at the college, we showed our IDs, took our places, and wadded into the test. I didn't need a replay of my dad's wrath. I was tired and grumpy when we finished. Simon wanted to stop for burgers, but I talked him into Mexican food. Chowing down on tacos, quesadillas, enchiladas, rice, and beans was a proven mood elevator. Are you still dating Debbie? Simon caught me with a mouthful of taco. I chewed, slow, giving myself some time. I swallowed and took a slug of iced tea. Why are you asking? Simon rearranged things on his plate. His eyes averted. He said, Rana asked me. Now I poked at my food. Oh. Who are you taking to the favorites dance? He said it in a rush, exhaling the words almost inaudibly. He was asking my permission to take Rana to the dance. I didn't know what to do with that. It pissed me off, but the truth popped out before I could stop it. I don't know. I might not go. You have to go. I don't have to do anything. But you're nominated. You'll win. There was something about the way he said that, as if it were a foregone conclusion, that set off tiny alarms deep in my head. But the anger at telling me what to do took over. So what? Well, won't your parents care if you won and weren't there to accept? The taco shell snapped in my grasp, and the contents cascaded to the plate. Cut the crap, Glass. You want to ask Rhonda to the dance, and you're afraid I'm an obstacle. Glass wouldn't look at me. He kept pushing his food around. I let him squirm. Finally, well, rest easy. I'm not going to ask her. I could feel rather than hear Simon's sigh of relief. Only because she wouldn't accept, I added. Simon looked up, bright-eyed as a chipmunk. Do you think she'd go with me? We looked at each other and then away. We nosed down our food, the silence interrupted only by the piped-in mariachi elevator music version of Margaritaville. Yeah, I think she would, I said. The ride home was predictably grim, but when Glass dropped me off at my house, I raced inside, got my mother's bird-watching binoculars, hopped in my car, and followed him. I hung back so he couldn't spot me. He went home. I parked one street over where I could see his driveway from a spot between two houses. He reappeared in about 20 minutes, shined and polished. He had changed his clothes and probably showered because the binoculars revealed damp comb tracks in his hair. I would have bet big money that he reeked of manly cologne. I let him pull out, travel the street, and turn the corner before I trailed him again. He took the long way to town, around the lake, back to the highway, then the overpass by the mall, and finally hung a right that took him downtown. He turned in at the florist. I parked next door at the Sonic, ordering a Coke to justify my presence. I was counting out change to the car hop when Glass emerged, carrying a long-stemmed rose. The rose was a delicate shade of pink, like a peach that was blushing. No common red rose for Simon Glass. I never sent Rana flowers. Kicking someone else's ass feels so much better than kicking your own, and I wish that I could run over Glass right there in the street. I could imagine how satisfying it would feel when his body thudded against the bumper. I could visualize him broken and bleeding on the pavement, his oh-so-perfect rose smashed and ruined beside him. As I watched him climb back into his car, safe from my murderous thoughts, I pondered how it must feel to let loose, to allow the darkness trapped inside you out to run rampant. The ice in my Coke was melting, turning the drink watery. I let Simon drive away. I knew where he was going. Tossing the drink out, I cranked the engine and drove to Rana's. I parked at the end of the street and trained the binoculars on them. They sat in the swing on the big wraparound porch. Rana held the rose. She was smiling.